And hello, South Florida. Welcome to another live edition of the Real Estate Show, South Florida's #1 program about real estate and America's longest running daily radio show about, you guessed it, real estate. My name is Eric Willner, and we're here live Monday through Friday, Monday from 5 until 5:30 p.m. each weekday. And then we have our special Sunday edition, which starts at 9 p.m. We'll run all of the week's shows back to back so that you can binge listen, or binge watch actually, because this is all on also on our Facebook page, where you can actually see and watch the Real Estate Show. You can get a little pic inside of our studio and put a face with a voice. Anyway, we got a great show for you today. As you know, Thursdays means it's the ATM edition of the Real Estate Show. ATM stands for About the Money. And we'll spend a good portion of today's show talking about the money. As we often like to say, you can't have much of a conversation about real estate without addressing the issue of money. Whether it's OPM, other people's money, your money, or anybody's money, there is always a transaction that goes in. There's no better way to make money than through using real estate as an investment. And we like to talk about the real estate as an investment from every different angle possible so that you can understand, digest, and then take some action. Hopefully what you hear on our radio show will inspire you to take some action. You know, our mission here on the Real Estate Show is to empower our listeners to own a piece of the American dream. I often say that real estate is one of those things. It's one of the basic fundamental necessities, right? Like food, shelter, and transportation. We are in the shelter business. Everyone requires shelter in some form or another. And as more and more people work remotely or work from home, the home becomes even more important. So never more than right now is real estate a great thing to be involved in, invested in. In fact, everyone is involved in it. As you've heard me say, you're either on real estate or you're in real estate. If you're on real estate, you are the one writing the checks. You are the one going to work at the office in order to create the income so that the owner can pay the rent. But if you're in real estate, then you are the owner. You're the one receiving the benefits of ownership, the benefits of that cash flow coming in. And there are many benefits, from the income to the tax benefits to the appreciation to the equity buildup, two different things, including the ability to leverage a large asset with a relatively small amount of money. In fact, if you're a regular listener of the Real Estate Show, you know that we've been talking a lot about down payment assistance, where we even have your down payment for you in some cases. So depending if you qualify for that, and if you want to learn more about our down payment assistance programs, then just text the word DPA to our Real Estate Show smart line. And the smart number is 561-861-2366. In fact, jot that number down, plug it into your phone or whatever device you're listening to, because you're going to hear us talk about different keywords that you can text it. And if you text it to our smart line, you'll get the free information, as we have automated this entire system. So again, that number is 561-861-2366. The first text was DPA for down payment assistance. That's DPA. Anyway, as I mentioned, we got a super show. Last night in one of my mastermind coaching calls, I ended up spending a good amount of time talking about the financing. And after we had this conversation, which went on for about an hour, I realized that this would have been a great conversation that everyone could have eavesdropped on, and you would have learned a lot. So I jotted down some notes about what we were doing and what we were talking about, and that's going to be sort of the outline of what today's show is all about. So some of it may seem like we're going back to the fundamentals, but I think that having a really good understanding, because after that mastermind, everyone walked away saying, man, that was really helpful. And now I have a much clearer picture of what I am going to face when it comes time to have the about the money conversation. So Before I get started and going into that, I just wanted to remind our listeners a couple of things. Number one, we're here as a place, as a source, as a resource. In fact, not only here on the radio show, but if you want to check out our website at automaticlandlord.com, that's automaticlandlord.com, you'll have all the access to the information. We're going to now we've got so many of those smart keywords that we're going to now post up a table of what those smart keywords are so that you can request the free information that comes from it. With everything going on with the pandemic, the unemployment, the elections, the new year, and the new administration, there's only one thing that's been constant, and that is that there's been change. And there's the only thing that won't change is that there will be more change. And so whatever you feel that the real estate market, which has been called, rising, been called stagnating, it's been called falling, stabilizing, adjusting, correcting, and so many of the other names that I hear people refer to. And sometimes in the same day, I'll see articles talking about those things. And so in order for you to make sense out of all of this, I recommend, number one, tune into our radio show every day of the week, 5 days a week, whether it's on our local radio stations, whether it's on iHeartRadio, the TuneIn app. You can find us at WWNN 1470 just by searching on any one of those apps. You can also find out more on our website at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. And, you just made me think that we should probably set up a keyword so that if you want the schedule, you can text for that. So that's coming. That'll be in one of our next shows. But the other thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about is, in addition to our radio show, we have a number of workshops. Yes, I have been called the busiest man in real estate because between our 9 shows a week, between our workshops, and just to list a couple of them, coming up Monday is our Equity Accelerator Workshop. Now, here's where we show homeowners how to accelerate and pay off their mortgage a lot faster without having to, enroll in special programs like the biweekly program or pay an extra payment per month. I'm going to show you how to do that. In fact, I'll show you how to eliminate all of your debt faster than any other method, guaranteed, any other method out there that you'll know. And so we talk about that on our Monday night workshop. It's coming up this coming Monday, 9 p.m. It'll be a Zoom meeting. To get the invitation, the link, in order to attend that meeting, all you got to do is text the word equity to 561-861-2366. Now, the number is going to be always the same. The word will change depending on which workshop best suits your needs. And P.S., if you want to drop a comment in our Facebook page or on our website, send me a note. It's, hey, what would really help is if we had a workshop on real estate about this. Because we talk about equity buildup, we talk about debt pay down, we talk about credit repair, we talk about income, we talk about down payment assistance. Those are our main ones. Tuesdays, we have our Credit Accelerator Workshop, where we'll show you how we can affect your credit in 30 days. And how do I do that? Because I can X-ray your credit report. And by looking at your credit report and running it through my X-ray software, I can tell you how much I can change your credit score in 30 days, and I'll help you to do it. And if you want to learn more about that, type in the word X-ray to our smart number. That's 561-861-2366. That's the word X-ray, just X-R-A-Y to 561-861-2367. And you can do it right now during the show. It won't interrupt me. It won't interfere in any way. So you got equity, you got X-ray, you've got credit. And then today, Thursday, following our show, a little bit later anyway, at 8:30 p.m., we have our big roundtable. And the big roundtable really is a mastermind. This is an opportunity to share the room with a bunch of entrepreneurs and real estate investors. And without any exception so far, every time people walk out and say, man, I picked up some great information, some great real estate tips, some great business tips, and made some really good connections there at the big table. So if you're interested in being part of that very smart group, then type the word big table to the smart line, 561-861-2366. So those are the workshops for this week. And We're going to have the same workshops coming up next week. So don't miss out on those. In fact, today being Thursday, we only have the big table left this week. But we are going to talk about financing from sort of a helicopter view. Now, what any financing out there, regardless of where you get it from, whether you get it from your uncle, your next door neighbor, your local real estate club, whether you go to a bank, a finance company, or your, any institution out there that lends, they're going to always be looking at three main factors. I can literally boil it down from any lender, any source out there, that they're really looking at three sources. Okay. Number one is credit. How you pay your bills. Now, if it's a family member, they're going to go by how they know you, and they'll saying that how you do some things is how you do most things. And if you've been kind of a iffy person growing up your whole life, it's going to be very iffy if they're going to give you a loan. But so credit / reputation, is really all about your history. Now, the past is not always an indication of the future, but statistically, it has been shown to be so. So let's move. Let's kind of categorize lenders as being non-family or non-person to person versus person to person, right? And so when you talk about private person to person, there are compensating factors. There's reputation. There's how long I've known you. Those can be fuzzy. But as soon as you stop and cross the border, and it's not person to person anymore, and it's an entity, whether it be somebody's LLC, somebody's IRA, somebody's whatever the case may be, you're going to start looking at credit as being a factor. And one of the big changes that happened back in 2008 with the whole market collapse in every area, including real estate, was a lot of people got swept up and caught up in these hard money loans. And a hard money loan used to mean that they didn't care about your credit. They would only look at the value of the property, and they would lend based on how much equity you have in the property, and they're going to lend a piece of it, a piece small enough that if they had to take the property from you and sell it, they will still have all of their money back. Now, that had changed back in 2008 because of what they're known now as the Dodd-Frank laws, where they said you can no longer arbitrarily lend to somebody without making sure that they had the ability to repay. And so you have to make certain analysis of whoever you are. So hard money lenders, as we knew them before, are no longer the case. Now, a lot of the same players are still called hard money lenders, but they're not hard money lenders in the traditional sense. They're gonna be required to look at your ability to repay. You're going to be required to look at your equity position, and they are now pulling credit because that's evidence that they did that work. So credit is very important, and it is the starting point, and I'll talk more about that. The next thing that every lender out there is they're going to look at your income, because your income is your ability to make payments on that loan. So we're looking at your past history. We're looking at your current ability in order to pay. And so income becomes an important thing. And one of the things that evaporated when the market crashed back in 2008 are those FOGAMIR get a loan qualifications where you didn't have to show any income. In fact, the joke in the mortgage industry is that we had gotten to the point where there was no income verification. There was no down payment verification because there was no down payment. And we kidded around that I think we were hours away right before the market collapsed that they were going to have no credit verification either. So they basically, dial 1-800, get a loan. So those are the two factors. And the third one, and I'm going to break those down a little bit further on number one, how you can affect those, and what is the minimum that you have to bring to the table. So we talked about credit, we talked about income, and the last one is down payment / equity, right? The lender always wants you to have skin in the game. So that whether it's 3% down in some of the FHA loans, whether it's 5% down in some of the low down payment conventional loans, whether it's 10% down, which is used to be the norm, 20% down, which is the ideal, 30% for investors, and so forth and so on. So whether you are going to get a loan is going to be a function of a combination, and there's a whole spectrum, high low credit versus high low income versus high low down payment. And depending on which one of those legs are stronger, you can have a weaker other leg, but you'll seldom get away with two weak legs. So it's if you remember my conversation a couple of weeks ago, we talked about good, fast, or cheap, pick two. Well, we're going to have that same conversation about credit, income, and down payment. So anyway, you're listening to The Real Estate Show. I'm going to go ahead and take a quick break here. A few words from our sponsors. We're talking about the money. We're talking about how to get the money, and we're going to show you all about that. And as we continue our conversation right after these words. So don't touch that dial. I'll be right back. There's John Brown. He's back in town. So how's everybody there? We'll have a little bit of an off conversation there during our break here. Just keep that so I can hear that going when they're coming back. Hello, John. You must be working really hard. I haven't seen you in so long. So this is everybody's favorite conversation is how do I get some money? Where do I get some money? Hey, Brian. So Florida, California, so far in the house, represented. So we covered the workshops. We covered the mission. We covered the big table. And let's see which one of the keywords yes, busy. Busy, as they say, as a one-armed wallpaper hanger. I don't know if you've ever tried that, but you have to be fast. Michael Prakash, San Francisco, California is now in the house. Again, actually, we got North and South California. I hear the music coming back. 70 seconds. And welcome back. For those of you just joining us for the second half of the Real Estate Show, my name is Eric Willner. I am your host, the host of the Real Estate Show, America's longest running daily radio show, and also South Florida's #1 show where this show originates. But you can listen to our show on our website as we broadcast it and stream it live at automaticlandlord.com. That's automaticlandlord.com. You can stream it live on the iHeartRadio app, the TuneIn app. All you have to do is search for WWNN or WNNN 1470, as I understand, and you'll catch it regardless of which one of our stations that it comes on. And you can listen to us there or catch us, as some of you are right now, watching us on our Facebook Live. And I know we probably get about 4 times as many people watching the Facebook Live after it's live later on. So today we've been talking about financing, getting financing, and understanding the concept behind financing so you can be a more informed borrower. And as I said, no matter where you borrow, you're going to be faced with questions about these 3 principal factors. These are what it all boils down to. If you boil down every single program out there, no matter how unique or how different or how exclusive it may be, it's based on these 3 factors. Number 1, what's your credit? Number 2, what's your income that you verify and can show? And number 3, how much money are you putting into the deal? What's your down payment? Now, all of these, I would say probably nowadays, with the exception of credit, you can't start with a 0 credit, but there are 0 income verification loans, but they're not zero income loans. Why? Because the lender wants to know that you have the ability to repay. You know, the old cliche where they says in order to get a loan from a bank, you got to prove that you don't need it. And so think of it as a three-legged stool or three pillars that hold up a building. And if you had a building that was held up, by three pillars, if you take one away and the other two are strong, it'll still hold up. You take two away, it's all over, it'll collapse. And that's how the lenders treat this. Now, credit, as you may know, and we've talked about this before, and when we do our credit workshop, you're gonna hear this over and over again, where we talk about the range of credit scores starts at 300 if you can spell your name. If you can figure out your social security number, your identification, and spell your name correctly, you get automatically 300 points. A maximum score of 850. And while I used to say that was a fictitious number, that only God had 850, today I'll tell you that I have met a number of walking mortals who have 850 credit score. One just right over there who's very proud to smile over there when I say that. So 300 to 850, depending on where you fall in that range, will be which doors are opened up to you, which is why I often say that the steps in order to go into finding a loan is to, number one, first of all, get your credit score. In today's market, credit scores under 500 need not apply. So 300 doesn't get you to the game. 400 doesn't get you into the game. 500 doesn't get you into the game either. Today, I think there are some programs that might start at around 580 with other strong compensating factors and for the homeowner only. When it comes to getting more middle of the road, more conventional, we're talking about now you've got to be into the 600s. And usually 620, 640 is a range where the door starts to open up for you. When you get into the 700s, now most of the doors are open, but the best of the best loans out there are for 800 credit scores and above. In fact, there are offers that are made out there that are made only to 800 credit score. In fact, if you have an 800 credit score, you're probably one of those people that's constantly getting credit card offers, constantly getting mortgage offers, and solicited by phone, mail, text, you name it, because the bankers, the lenders, the credit card, everybody wants you because you have a demonstrated history of paying back all of your obligations. So then let's talk about minimum income. Now, income, there is no real minimum income per se, unlike credit scores, but income, the minimum income or the income that you show will determine the maximum that you can borrow. So that's why I said first, determine where you fall on the credit range, whether you need to work out something or improve your credit. Now, remember, I talked two keywords. One is X-ray. If you want to know exactly where you stand and where you can be, talking about our X-ray, where I can literally X-ray your credit report and then tell you, today you may be a 620, but I can get you to a 700 or maybe even a 720 based on some things that you'll have to do. So this gives you a really good understanding. Now, the ideal person has a 720 credit score or greater, has fully documentable income for the amount of the property that they want to buy, and they have 20% down. When you hear these 2% interest rates out there, that's who those loans are for. Whenever you depart from those three factors, now you're going to start seeing a little bit higher rates, maybe points, maybe a variation, lower amount that you can borrow against the property. But now you have a good foundation where to start. If you want to learn more about that, type in "call me" to our 561-861-2366. That's "call me," and we can have this direct conversation, one-on-one, confidential, with no obligation whatsoever. But that's it. That's all the time we've got for today's show. We got a lot more to talk about. We'll be talking about that on our next shows. But until then, drive safe, wash those hands, and make it a great day. Oof. Man, that went fast. All right, thank you. Man, I told you it was an hour-long conversation. I don't think I even got halfway through all the things that I wanted to say. But I think the key thing that I wanted to say was, number one, the three main factors and the order in which you want to understand where you stand. So we'll get more into that. And of course, the best way is to come to our credit workshop. Type in the word credit, text it to 561-861-2366 if you want to get more information. If you like the idea of having somebody x-ray your credit report to tell you where you are, but not only that, but given what you have, where you can be, even just by making some immediate adjustments, which we can even help you to make those appear in your credit report even faster. Type in the word x-ray to the same number. Anyway, that's it for today. If you want to see the number, it's also listed here in the comments. We'll be back again tomorrow and do it all over again. Bye-bye.